everyone. Happy Tuesday. My name is Laura Milligan and welcome to my weekly Facebook Live. Normally I go live on Mondays, but I had a couple technical issues yesterday which I've gotten figured out luckily. And so thank you for coming back. If you were here yesterday, I'm so sorry that it didn't work out, but I'm excited to share some really great projects today with you. And if you take a peek, Charlie's sleeping right behind me, and I know people always like to see him, but he's not going to put his head up. So I thought maybe you'd get a glimpse of him today. I know everybody loves Charlie. So one thing that happened overnight we didn't know about until this morning was that there's been a clearance rack update or clearance rack refresh. And there are some really great deals. They put some stamp sets on the clearance rack, which they normally don't do, but apparently there were some that they had a little bit extra inventory, so they wanted to clear those out, and there's great deals on those. There's also a lot of other things on the clearance rack, ribbons and gems and papers, dies, and so be sure to check that out. And then don't forget that it is still Celebration, so if you order $50 in product, then you get to pick a free Celebration reward. And there's some really great things still available in Celebration, and they added some new things. I think it was like early February 1st. So take a look at those, but don't miss out. I've had people put in orders of like $48 and just, add some glue or some dimensionals or some basic that you're going to use, and get a free stamp set or some beautiful paper with your Celebration rewards. So I am going to go ahead and flip my camera down, and we'll get started. If you're there, give me a shout out. And hopefully, I think a lot of you will come back today that were here yesterday. And let me say, there's nothing more frustrating than being all ready to go and then having a technical problem, right? Oh, so frustrating. But anyway, the nice thing was I got up this morning and I knew I was all ready. So, okay, there's Debbie. Hi, Renee. There's Carol. Good to see you all. Thanks for watching. And let me change my camera view. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I got 2 cards in the mail. This was dropped off at my door. This is from my friend Tanae, and she just dropped this off, and she knows, like everybody else, I guess, knows that I love bees. So she sent this cute card, and it's a fun fold. Look how fun that is. So thank you, Tanae, for that. And then this one I got from Marianne, and I think I got it a week ago, and I forgot to share it last week, but she actually did this tile technique that I'm going to show you how to do today. So thank you to Tanae and Marianne for those cards. And then I wanted to show you, these were the cards that I made last week. Hi, Sarah. My sister says, hi, Laura Lee. These were the cards I made last week, which I have fallen in love with this farm bundle. And I just think these cards are just so cute and just make me happy. So I'm going to give these away. Look at the cute little chicken on the inside. This one is going to Sharon York Wolf. Sharon, I do not have your address. I think you're a new viewer, so if you see this, please message me with your address, and I will get this out in the mail for you. I always appreciate new people watching. And then this slimline card, which I also love, is going to Juanita. So, and Juanita, I'm going to be seeing you later this week, so I will just hand this to you. Oh, you know what? I was going to say, wait, we're missing, part of this popped off. There we go. Thinking happy thoughts of you. So Juanita, this is for you, and I will give that to you this week when I see you. So a couple things before I share my projects today. I have just released a class featuring the Share a Milkshake bundle. And so cute. It's a great stamp set. I love this. You're the cherry on top. So cute. Life is sweeter with you. There is a Valentine greeting, but this is way more than just a Valentine set. There's also some coordinating dies. And so my class, this is my bee box. I have a little flyer here. And the basic class is $40, and that is for 3 different card designs. You'll make 2 of each, so 6 cards plus a bonus project. and registration closes February 27th. You can add on this bundle at catalog price, saving you tax and shipping. I cover that for you. And you also get a little swag bag of product. You'll get designer paper, you'll get gems and ribbon, all for that $40 fee. If you want to add on any inks you may need or the Share a Milkshake bundle, that would be, of course, an additional cost. I can ship these anywhere in the United States. So let me just give you this. So this class is part of it is a technique class. The bonus project will just be a cute project, but I wanted to just give you a quick peek. I'm going to show you how to use our masking tape. So those are the 3 cards that we're going to be making. And we're going to be using, I said masking tape, I mean masking paper. I will show you how to use the masking paper that is in our product line to make those really cute cards, plus an additional bonus project. And I think the best thing about this is it's no calories, right? You can, you're right, and Renee says, such a cute set would be great for birthdays. But there's no calories in this, so you can make as many of these as you want, right? That's the kind of milkshake I like, with no calories. Okay, so my projects today are going to feature the Fancy Flora Suite Collection, and it is gorgeous. It is found on page 14 and 15 of our mini catalog, and it includes two bundles. So it is a big suite. It includes the look how gorgeous these projects are, the colors. So it includes the two-tone Flora stamp set and dies, and then the Something Fancy stamp set and dies, as well as some papers, beautiful gems, ribbon, and this designer paper. Speaking of these gems, they are the iridescent pastel gems, and I have a special this month. This is a way for me to thank you for ordering through me. If you place an order of $50 and use this host code, this is for online orders, you will get a pack of these iridescent pastel gems from me as a thank you, along with, of course, a hand-stamped card. But they are part of this gorgeous suite, and I have been using those gems over and over and over again. So the great thing about these suites is you can write down one number, 160431, on page 14 of the catalog, and you will get everything that you see on this page. You will get the entire suite without having to write down all these different numbers. You can write one number down and get the whole thing. And the coordination with these products is gorgeous. And so let me show you 2 cards today. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to do this, I call it a tile technique. I'm not really sure what it's called, but that's what I call it. So I'm starting with this beautiful Coastal Cabana cardstock, and let me show you the stamp set. So this is the two-tone Flora. It is a 2-step stamp set, and then these are the dies that coordinate with that. There's another die, which I actually have all put together for my second project, but I'll show you that in a minute. So I'm going to start with just scoring, folding my cardstock in half. This looks big. Maybe you know what it is. I need to trim this a little bit. I didn't think it looked right. So this is going to be 5.5 by 8.5. I'm just going to put the score line at 4 1/4. Well, that's right. Okay, so it's okay this way. It's just too long this way. Just about a 1/4 of an inch. So just slice that off. And there we have our standard card base. 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I'm going to leave my paper trimmer here. And I'm going to take this piece of cardstock, and I'm going to use my... let me see if I can turn this so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the scoring blade on my Stampin' Trimmer, which is the light gray blade, and I'm just going to score this at 1 inch. All the way across. And then Same thing, 1 inch all the way across. So I'm creating like a grid, which is really subtle. I don't even know if I can hold, there you go. You can see a little glimpse of it there. I just created all these little squares. So then I'm going to, I don't need my paper trimmer. I'll set that aside, and I'm going to do my stamping. So I'm using really pretty colors. The Coastal Cabana, of course, that's my card base. And, oh, you know what I did? Okay, I see what I'm doing now. Aha. You know what? Hold on a second, everybody. Okay. I could use the Coastal Cabana, but you know what I realized now that I see my sample, I used Pool Party for my base. So let me get my paper trimmer out again. Facebook Live, right? You never know what's going to happen. So I'm going to cut this at 5.5. And I could have used that Coastal Cabana base, but I want to have a little bit of contrast. And I'm going to just score this at 4.25. Okay, now let's set that aside here. Now I think I am done with my paper trimmer. All right, put this aside. Luckily I have all my paper and everything right here at my fingertips. So, okay, so I'm going to use Coastal Cabana and Pool Party and Pear Pizzazz for this card. So this is a 2-step stamp set, and it's personal preference. I personally like to start with the lighter color first, the more detailed, or the more solid part of the stamp. So I'm going to do that with Pool Party ink. It's going to be the lighter color. And I'm just going to stamp 3 of these. This, because it is photopolymer, you want to be sure to stamp on something that gives a little bit. I always use this little grid pad, which is actually a bonus or an add-on to the Stamparatus. And then I always have my mat under here. You want to have just something that's going to give a little bit. So I'm just going to stamp a couple of these. Put one right here. And I'll do all 3 of these, and then I'll go in with the darker color. So there's the start of my card. Now I'm going to do the Coastal Cabana. I think this is such a pretty color combination. And of course, the nice thing about this, because it is photopolymer, you can see, I'm going to move this in so I can see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of at a weird angle. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, so there's the first one. Not too bad. But see how it just adds detail, and with that light color behind it, it's so pretty. Okay, we'll do that one. Pretty good. Really, the best thing about, well, one of the good things about this photopolymer, especially for 2-step stamping, is you can see where you're going to stamp. That's not lined up perfectly, but I think it's good. So then I thought about maybe, you know how I love to do my flecking, and I thought it might be pretty to do that. I didn't do it on my sample, but you know what? I think I'm going to try. I'm going to pull in my dark Pool Party, and I'm going to get my bone folder. Sometimes I get these ideas after I've already completed a card, and it was too late to do this, and I just thought this would be pretty. So I'm using my dark Pool Party Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to take my bone folder and just fleck to just add some interest on the background of that stamp. And it's pretty subtle. I don't even know if you can see it. Let me hold it up and see if I can see that. Just real subtle little flecking on the back. I could do a little bit more, but I kind of like it like that. So now I'm going to just take my Pear Pizzazz ink and stamp my leaves. I'm going to close up this. And I was kind of laughing this morning. I've been doing some stamping, and I have green ink on my thumb, and I was going to say I have a green thumb today, but it's not because of gardening. It's from stamping. So, okay, now I'm just going to add a couple leaves. Again, this is with Pear Pizzazz ink. Put one there. Put one there. I think this is such a pretty color combination. So more people are joining. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Jennifer. Okay, so there we have that. And then I stamped the words. Let me pull these in. This is from the other half of this suite. It's the Something Fancy bundle. And so I used the words, I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration. I love that. How many times have you forgotten somebody's birthday and you want to send them a card anyway? This is perfect for that. And so I have already gone ahead and stamped this. Stamped it first, and then I die cut it. I think this is the one I used. Yeah, so I die cut it with this. Just to save a little time, I did that ahead for today. So now I'm ready to put this card together. So I'm going to take my pool party ribbon. This is also part of this suite. It's real pretty. It's like a grosgrain, but it's soft and pretty pliable. So I'm going to take paper snips. I put a ribbon on these yesterday because this is a brand new pair of paper snips. And let me tell you, there is nothing like a new pair of scissors, right? So I'm going to just angle this like that. So I'm guarding these. I don't want anything to happen to these. Okay. So I'm going to just attach this here, across here like this. I'm going to trim it a little bit more. Just a titch off. Okay, then I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal and just put a little strip of adhesive there just to kind of hold that in place. Okay, that's good. Just to secure that. And then I'm going to put dimensionals on either side of this. You know what, I'm going to move this up a little. So it's just where I want it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to get some dimensionals. And I'm just going to put 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Sort of going around the where the ribbon is, although the ribbon's flat. So I have to tell you a funny story about these dimensionals. You know how, I'm going to move my view up a little bit. There you go. We all talk about how these little backing things end up on everything. And so this morning, Charlie came in to see me, and here on his back was one of the backs of those dimensionals. Poor guy. Of course, he didn't even know, but I had to kind of chuckle to myself about that. Okay, so I'm going to just put that right there. I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration. Okay, so now we have our pool party card base. And that is going to be layered on top of, I'm going to layer it with a piece of Coastal Cabana, which is next. Now this is what, so originally I made a little boo-boo, but actually, you know what, this actually would be really, really pretty as well. It's like a tone on tone, so it's whatever you prefer. I have a little boo-boo there, so I'm going to put that down. It's going to be covered up anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and get my glue. Let's see, I think I have one here, yep. I'm going to go ahead and glue this panel on. I see some of you watching have already ordered from the clearance rack today, so thank you for doing that. Don't miss out. Like I said, there's some really, really good deals. So this is going to go on here. And look how, I'm going to hold this up so you can see, look how cool it looks with that scoring there. I think it's just really fun, and it's simple to do. So I'm going to pop this panel up with some dimensionals. I feel like yesterday I had a trail of these dimensional backs all through my house. That's all right. I can't imagine how Charlie got one on him, but so I'm just going to center this now like that. And then, isn't this pretty? To finish this, I'm going to use my pastel gems and my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to put a couple of these on the front. I think these are so pretty. I've used so many of these. They are found in the mini catalog. And I'll put one right there. And then I want to do something on the inside. So I have this panel. Make sure it's cut right, 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to get my stamps out again real quick and just stamp a little flower on the corner there. So I'm going to take my Pool Party. This would also be really pretty on the envelope. You could do the same thing. I want to stamp that right there with Pool Party. And then Coastal Cabana to add the detail. This actually is a really pretty flower just by itself, but I do think it just pops more with the detail. Let's see if I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, there we have that. And then I might as well just add a little leaf with Pear Pizzazz. Isn't this pretty? I just think these colors are so pretty. Okay, so we'll do that like that. And then I think what I'll do is I'm going to take, I don't have any more of the small blue. I've used them all, but I'm going to take one of these clear ones. I would use a blue if I had it, but sometimes it's fun. I think it's fun to just add a little dimensional. Where would I put it? Maybe right there. Just put a little dimensional on the inside to make it look special as well. All right, so let's just glue this in. Gosh, I didn't realize we were going to have a windstorm today. It is so crazy windy here. Really, really windy. And we live in a neighborhood with a lot of big old trees. We live in a historical neighborhood, and I always worry when we have big windstorms like this, what's going to happen. But okay, so there's my first card, which I think is so pretty. Let me know what you think. It's Coastal Cabana, Pool Party, and Pear Pizzazz, and this is using the two-tone Flora stamp set, and then the Something Fancy dies. And I would do something like this on the envelope too. That would be really pretty. Okay, next card. This is kind of the star of the show to me in this suite. So give me a second here. Let me put these inks away so that I don't end up with ink where I don't want it. Give me just a second here. Okay. All right, so my next card, let me get these out of the way as well. So I'm going to use, it's the two-tone Flora again, and in this set of dies, it's a big set of dies. Let me just pull all this in here. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to show you the paper, the Fancy Flora paper, which is just gorgeous. So let me show you that real quick. It is 6 by 6. The colors are so pretty. They look like, these look like a paint canvas almost, right? There's yellows and browns, purples, blues, corals. Look how pretty that is. There's a really wide variety of patterns here. And then let me just show you the opposite side real quick. Love this one. I think that's so pretty. There's another really pretty one in this, which I do not have a piece of to show you because I've used it all. But look how pretty. Look at the colors and the variety. That's a really pretty one as well. But don't you think it just looks like it's been like painted on a canvas? You can almost see the texture. That's a pretty one too. Okay, so those are that's the paper, Fancy Flora. It's part of the suite. Let me set that aside. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. So there, with this set, my friend Renee was here. She's one of my, I call them my B team, Sandra, Renee. You've heard me talk about them before. And we worked on, we experimented with this. Look at this gorgeous die. We experimented, tried all kinds of different things. Literally, it looked like it had snowed. in my B spot, my stamping studio, because look at all the tiny little pieces. And so we kept experimenting until we found the best way to die cut this very detailed die. And because it's so beautiful and because it is so detailed, I've come up with what I think is the best way to die cut it. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine. I'll set all this aside. And I'll try to do this so that you can see what I'm doing. So for this one, you can't use the mini. You have to use your big machine. And so my plate, oops. Sorry, I was die cutting some things today. Okay, so the sandwich is plate number 1. And of course, I love that the platforms in this, with our new cutting machine, are all numbered. So I'm going to do plate number 1, and then I'm going to do plate number 2, which is what you always want to use with dies. There's the number right there. That's next. Then I'm going to do a cutting plate, and I will say these are brand new. I just opened them up. I was not using brand new cutting plates when I did this yesterday when I was figuring out the sandwich, but it does help. I think every once in a while you need to replace your plate, so I just thought today would be a good day. Next, we have our sandwich. So I'm going to put, what I found was with this die, you want to put the cutting side up. So I'm going to put that next. And hopefully, let me turn this a little bit more. Okay. Then you're going to have your wax paper, a piece of wax paper. Then I'm going to put my white cardstock because that's the piece that I want to cut. And then I found that if you add a shim, just another extra piece of cardstock, that's the correct sandwich, and it works really well. So what I did was I just sort of positioned this, and I wanted to make sure it didn't move. So I took, I took 2 Post-it notes, which are now under my machine. Let me get those here. And so I want to make sure this is right where I want it. And then what I did was I took the sticky part and just folded it around like that to hold it in place. And I'm going to do that on both sides. I'm going to move this over just a titch. I'm probably going to need to trim it up a little bit when I'm done, but that's okay. Look. Okay, so I'm going to just put that there to hold that whole sandwich in place. So that's going to go on top here. And then I'm going to put my cutting plate, and I'm just going to crank it through. And I'm going to do it a couple times again. Oops. Yeah, okay. So it's tight because you want it to be thick so that it cuts really well. Got to use your muscle power for this one, but I think it's worth it. And I think because I have new cutting plates too, it's really, okay, so I've gone all the way through, and now I'm just going to go back. It's easier the second time. And just to be safe, because I'm on Facebook Live, I probably don't need to do it a third time, but I am going to. Okay, so let's see how we did. I'm going to pull this out. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Anne-Marie. Hi, Anne. Hi, Becky. Thank you all for joining me today. Okay, so let's see how we did. It's the big unveiling. Bring all my other stuff back in here. Just give me a second to get organized here. Okay. Whoops. That all got... this all got discombobulated. This is my host code. If you're ever looking for this, just go to my blog, lauramilligan.com, and you can always find that in this along the sidebar. All right, so let's take this off. Take our Post-it notes off. And here we have our die. And look at this. Look how well that popped up. Now, you're still going to have to do a little bit of poking, and actually that little piece of wax paper is on here, so you want to pull that off. But to me, that is a success because there's almost nothing left like sticking in there. So let me set this aside. The other thing that's really fun is now a lot of the white has stuck to my little shim, but that's going to pop right off. You just have to work with it a little bit. And then you have, I don't know if you can see this, but you have like an embossed layer that would be neat just to add some texture if you need a layer of something. So let me slide all these little scraps off of here. I'll get these out of the way. You probably want to have a trash can handy when you're doing this, but I think it's really fun. And actually, this piece of wax paper, I've had people save these and use them before too. Why not? You could put that on a card. Maybe, cut part of it, whatever. All right, so let me just get my little poker tool and just finish poking these out. And look how easy, right? So don't hesitate. You've gotta, and I will say everybody's machine is a little bit different. Everyone's is calibrated a little bit different. So you need to experiment. You may not need to add a shim with yours. Just the wax paper may be enough, but especially since I was doing this live, I wanted to make sure that I got a really good impression. You know what I'm going to use? I have my little pokey tool that I think is going to be better for all these flowers. And my card that I'm going to make is pretty simple, and I think this one seems stuck a little bit. There we go. I just wiggled it out. I think when you have paper that is as beautiful as this and a die that is as beautiful as this, you don't need to add a lot more. So I'm going to keep this one pretty simple, and I just really want to showcase this gorgeous die. Don't you think it's beautiful? I just love these detailed dies when we have these. Okay, so there, I've done all the poking. There's one piece back here. But I would say that was pretty easy for such a detailed die. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so we're going to take this, and I'm going to get these out of here. My little snow, as we were calling it yesterday. Okay. So now I'm going to bring in this pretty paper. This is from that paper that I just showed you, the Fancy Flora, and I thought that this looked so pretty on here just with that color coming through. So I'm going to what I thought was easiest, and again I experimented, and what I'm going to do, and I did try this with a window sheet, which will work. In fact, I have that one. Here's the one I did with the window sheet, and that's one way to do it too. That would add a little bit more thickness, not much, but as you're die cutting it, that helped as well. And I think sometimes when you're pulling the backing off of the adhesive sheet after you've run it through your machine, it's sticky, and it pulls like the negative spaces away, like some of the parts that I was just poking out. So that's kind of personal preference. I decided I liked it better I didn't want it completely flat on my designer paper. I liked it to have a little bit of, it's not really depth, but a little bit of lift, I guess I would say. So I'm just going to go around, and I'm just putting my glue in the places that are kind of thick. For sure I want to get them around the edges best I can, but it doesn't take much. And just any place that is a little bit bigger space, I'm going to add some glue. And I think that's probably good enough. And I think, you can put this anywhere you want. I'm going to go over by the corner here, and then I can use this other scrap. It might be enough to put on the envelope flap. We'll have to see. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a press. Just hold it down for a minute. Let it stick. There's a lot of space to stick, right? Okay, and you can see it's not completely flat, but I personally like that. So then what I'm going to do is bring in my paper trimmer again. and just trim this up. So I want this to end up being 4 inches across. So I'm going to just trim approximately 4 inches, I should say. So I'm going to just trim a little bit off of there, just like, I don't know, it's 1/8 of an inch, if even that much. And then I'm going to cut off the top here. I'm just being careful because I want to, there's this white band here. I want to make sure that I leave enough of that. I don't want to cut into the beautiful design. So I'm going to just get that lined up. Slice that off. I think the bottom looks good. And then this here, I'm going to just, I want to even up my side. So I'm going to just cut a sliver of that. Okay, and that looks good. Isn't that gorgeous? And you can imagine how this would look on, gosh, any different color. Here's one that I did. And let's just hold it on some of these. Let's pull some of these out. I think it would be beautiful. And of course you could do it in colors. I always look how beautiful that is. I'm always drawn to just white. That would be pretty. Look how pretty that one is. Let's see. Let's put it behind or in front of this. I bet that would be really pretty too. Yes. I love how you can see that color. It's just so subtle behind there. I think that's really pretty. So there's so many papers and things you could do with this. Okay, so then I'm going to take my card base, and I used Orchid Opulence. I'm sorry, Orchid Oasis. We had Orchid Opulence years ago, and I always have a tendency to call, that's what I call this, but that's not right. It's Orchid Oasis, and this is one of our in colors for this year, and it is a gorgeous color, and I thought it complemented that. I wanted to pull some of those colors from behind on this DSP. So I'm going to go ahead and just attach this. Hello from Oregon. Hello, how are you? Hi, Cheryl. But I think my point with this die is don't get frustrated. You have to experiment a little bit, but I think the trick is putting the cut side up. That makes a big difference. I did that for some other dies that I was die cutting, and the more detailed ones, it just works better. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a press here. Okay, there we have that. And then I am going to use, my words are from that Something Fancy stamp set, and they say, grateful for the everyday magic of you. I love that phrase. I think that's really pretty. And I'm going to use the Orchid Opulence. I've already die cut. I called it the wrong thing, didn't I? Orchid Oasis. I have that other name in my head, and I just can't get it out of my head. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this, and you know I like to put my stamps on the diagonal because for me I have better luck getting it straight, and that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And so then I'm going to go ahead and close up my ink. I'm going to use my Orchid Oasis ribbon. This is like 1/8 of an inch, and so what I decided to do was to double this and do a double bow. I don't know how much I need. I'm just going to go with that. So I'm going to cut this so that I have 2 pieces, but when I'm tying it in a bow, I'm going to just act like it's one piece. And I'm just going to sort of go like this. Well, actually, wait, I can tie a bow. Just tie a bow. And then I like to hold my thumb and index finger on the knot and then just pull from the ends. And I like to, if you pull one of the threads, one of the strands, then you can get that, they're offset a little bit, and I like that. Let's get this evened up a little bit. Okay, and that looks good. So this is going to rest right here behind this panel, the word panel, and I'm going to just put that right here. So simple. This one this bow I'm going to make a little bit smaller. I don't want it too big. I'm going to trim the ends a bit. And again, that's if you want it, you can decide how long or short you want it. And that's going to go right here. I'm going to attach this with a glue dot. Hey, Marcia, how are you? Hi, Wendy. Hi, Carol. Thank you all for hopping on. I'm sorry about yesterday. Like I said, there is nothing more frustrating. Ugh. Okay, so I'm going to just put that about right there and just secure that with my glue dot. This is going to be resting over that. Fiddle with these a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to add some dimensionals on the back of this. And I'm avoiding this one area of the label where that knot is going to be, but I want to put one sort of close to that, and then I'm going to put one at the top and bottom too, because I didn't think I needed one, but yesterday when I was making this card, it was sort of going back and forth. It wasn't secure, so I'm adding 4 dimensionals on this. So there you have that. Grateful for the everyday magic of you. And then to finish this off, I just added a little bit of embellishments. These are the iridescent rhinestone basic jewels. They're in the annual catalog. And so let me just take my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm just going to add a couple of these. These come in 3 different sizes. Put one there. And then the other 2. And I could use a big one. I think I'm going to use the medium size though. I'm going to put one there. And then another medium size right there. And I mean, this would be really pretty. You could scatter some of the little ones. Let's see what it looks like. Why not? Let's just scatter a couple of these, just to make it really sparkly. There you go. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks really pretty and sparkly. So that is my second card. Oh, and then I need to put my insert. And what you could do is stamp, like I did the first card that I made, stamp that flower, because the flower is this. The flower stamp is actually this one. So you could actually put that in there. That would be really pretty. And I think it would be fun to get a card in the mail that says, grateful for the everyday magic of you. I think that's a really beautiful sentiment. Okay. Oh, and then, where did I put that? I had that little extra piece of designer paper. Where is it? It has disappeared. I'm not sure that it was big enough. I thought it might be big enough. Wait, let's see. Here it is. It still has some of that paper stuck to it. I don't know if this is going to be enough. Let me grab an envelope here, if I have one. Do I? I guess I don't. Hold on, give me a second. I should have one somewhere. No, I don't, but I know I've showed you before where you could take a piece like this and just attach it to the back of your envelope flap and then trim around, and that way it makes the envelope flap look pretty too, and they know there's something special inside. So let me bring in my other card. You can see both of these. So again, these projects are from, let me pull this out again. This is the Fancy Flora Suite Collection. You can write down this one number and get the entire thing. It's $139.50 for everything you see here. Both bundles, the ribbon, the gems, this really pretty shimmer paper, the designer paper, and of course, what I would recommend is if you do decide to order this suite, kick it up to $150, because then you will earn host rewards. You're $11 away. So that would be my recommendation. Not only will you earn host rewards, but you'll also earn celebration products as well. So I'm going to switch my view. So I'm going to hold these up. Let me know which one is your favorite. I think I would have a hard time picking. I love this tile technique. It's a simpler, quicker card. This one takes a little bit more effort, but once you get figured out how to get this detailed die cut out, and hopefully the tips I gave you today will help, but this is probably my favorite. I think I love the colors. I think it's so pretty. So don't forget about the Share a Milkshake class. I hope that you will sign up for that if you haven't yet. And also don't forget about the clearance rack update. Things have been going fast. I've been getting a steady flow of orders all morning, which I'm so grateful for. Thank you all that have taken advantage of that. And I will see you back on hopefully Monday. Now that I've got this little technical glitch figured out, I plan to go back to my Monday schedule. So I will see you next Monday at 1 o'clock. And as always, I so appreciate you watching. And I don't know if Charlie's right. Charlie, no, he's not. He's snoot. Can you see him? You can almost see him right there, but he's sound asleep. So he's not going to sit up. You can see a little bit of him. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm always so grateful for all of you. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, I hope you have time to be creative today. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.